Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Danielle and this is Amber, and today we're going to go over our most anticipated releases of 2021. This is not an exhaustive list. We just picked the ones that we just have to read. I'm going to have 10 books on my list. She's going to have 10 books on her list, and then we have one that we share. So those are our 21 books. So when constructing this list, we wanted to make sure that the books that we selected coincide with our 2021 reading goals, and we actually made a whole video about that. That'll be linked below. And so some of my goals is to read more Black authors, is to read more hard-hitting nonfiction by Black authors, and so I have some of those on my list. I also have some literary fiction on my list because that's one of my goals. So we're just gonna get right into it. So my first pick is All's Well by Mona Awad. So I didn't read her first book, Bunny. I actually started it, but like, I don't know, for some reason I just couldn't get into it. But I really like her writing style. I think she has a really strong voice. So I'm like, I'm gonna give her next book a chance. This one isn't gonna be released until August, so it's gonna be a little bit of a wait. And I do think this one is literary fiction, which is totally my vibe. Like I said, we're trying to read more literary fiction, but that's also one of the genres that I just love. I just love good writing. I love getting inspired by the actual prose. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Even I don't really know what it's about yet. I'm just like, it's literary. I like her style. I'm just gonna give it a chance. My first book that I'm really anticipating is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I read Blacktop Wasteland last year and I absolutely loved that book. So that's like a really fast-paced thriller that like kind of takes place in like racing car world. I don't even like that, but he made me love the story. I like flew through that book, and so I want to fly through another book. And he has this one, it's coming out in July, so it's another one that's kind of a wait. But the synopsis sounded really cool. I just read like the tip of it. I don't like to read too much into them. And I like that it said a Black father, a white father, 2 murdered sons, a quest for vengeance. So it's basically a revenge thriller, and I'm all here for it. My next book is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. So I just finished reading Red, White, and Royal Blue. That was their first book. And I was just like, I had some problems with that book. It wasn't a 5-star read, but I still really enjoyed parts of it. I know that this one has like that, you know, Groundhog Day. You have to relive the day over and over until you get something right. That type of like little twist. And I'm like, I like it. And reading romance is on your goals, right? I'm into reading about the Black experience nowadays a lot, and I did a lot of that for 2020. I want to continue it. And this one, No Gods, No Monsters by Caldwell Turnbull. I don't know this author, but the synopsis just sounded really cool. This is another one where I'm not going to read the full synopsis. I just want to know the basics of the story. And this one is about Boston cops shoot this Black man. And I think we're following his sister, and I guess she's going to investigate and see if this was an act of police brutality. Is it or isn't it? And I love that kind of like dilemma. And this one is coming out in September. Another one that's going to be a long wait, but like I said, I'm really excited to read more about the Black experience through fiction, so I'm excited for this one. Speaking of the Black experience, my next one is totally up that alley. It's called The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Harris. And all I know from what I read from the synopsis was that it says Get Out meets The Devil Wears Prada. So that already seems really exciting. I hope it's good. I hope it lives up to the hype, because I don't know, lately there's been a lot of books that just compare themselves to Get Out, and I'm like, but that's not like that at all. I really hope it's just as powerful as Get Out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with River Solomon's writing. He's like a new writer who's like just taking the book world by storm. And some of you have probably read The Deep in 2020, and I read that. I didn't really love it, but I liked his writing and I want to read more from him. So he has Sorrowland coming out in May, and the synopsis of this one just sounds so good. It says, a triumphant genre-blending breakout novel for one of the boldest new voices in contemporary fiction, Vern, 7 months pregnant and desperate to escape the strict religious compound where she was raised, flees for the shelter of the woods. There she gives birth to twins and plans to raise them far from the influence of the outside world. I'm already in for it. I like that she's grown up like probably with this really pious environment, and now she wants to escape it, and there's going to be twins, and I want to see how he handles twins if he does that well. So I'm like all in for this. It seems like it's like fantasy, maybe a mystery. I'm not even really sure what the genre is. It says it's a blend of them, so I'm always here for that. I like when things aren't so like, don't you find that sometimes when books are like a straight thriller or a straight whatever, it's kind of predictable, kind of is like boring. So I feel like the more you blend them, the more interesting it can be. The next book that I want to read is actually a domestic thriller. It's called The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. I've never even heard of this author. I haven't read anything by her, but just the synopsis, it seemed like it could be interesting. So it's basically about this woman named Sophie. She quit her really high-powered job to be a stay-at-home mom, and now she's just finding that her life is just so boring. There's nothing to do. And then she meets this socialite who has it all together, and she's beautiful, she's this, gets obsessed with her. Well, she discovers that she's part of this like secret group who call themselves the Hunting Wives. And I was just like, I stopped right there.
Yeah,
like I don't want to know like what they're, that's enough for me.
You know, I think I like that because I like that it's not about a domestic suspense. It's like about husbands and wives. Like it seems like it's gonna be about like centered around a lot of women.
Yeah, a lot of action. I hope it's like action filled. That's what I'm hoping for.
The next one I have is a collection of short stories. It's literary fiction. It's by Danielle. This is her debut, but I think she won a big fiction prize last year, and so that's why, like, so people know her name a little bit. It's called Milk, Blood, Heat. Doesn't that already sound good? Each story in Milk, Blood, Heat delves into the ordinary worlds of young girls, women, and men who find themselves confronted by extraordinary moments of violent personal reckoning. Like, that just sounds good. It's gripping. I want to read it. And I know Raven Leilani, who wrote Luster last year, absolutely loved that book. She put her stamp of approval on this book, so I'm just like, I gotta read it.
My next one also comes out in February. It's called The Project by Courtney Summers. For me, Courtney Summers is just an auto-buy because I just love Sadie. I just thought her writing was so strong. I liked her storytelling, so I actually didn't even read the synopsis. I was just like, this is on my list. Comes out in February. Hopefully I can read it like soon after it comes out. As soon as it is available on Libby or Hoopla, I'm just gonna download it.
My next pick is Angel of Greenwood by Randy Pink. Now this is another author I'm not familiar with, but I'm anticipating it even though I'm not familiar with her writing. It's basically a historical YA, which I haven't read yet, so I'm interested in to see if I like that. And it's following the Tulsa massacre, basically. I know generally what happened, but I would like to see a character in this world, in this circumstance. So I'm really anticipating this is another one that's going along with a Black author. And this one has such a really pretty cover, this beautiful Black woman on the cover. And it's going along with reading more about the Black experience. And I like that this is fictionalized, but it's historical, so it's going to be based on some facts. And this one comes out in January.
My next pick also comes out in January, and it's called Girl A by Abigail Dean. This is a new author for me, but I read the synopsis, and this is also literary fiction, so I'm like,
destined to like
it's literary fiction, but also a mystery, and that's like the best combination for me. But just to give you guys a quick idea of what it's about, the synopsis says, when her mother dies in prison and leaves Lex and her siblings the family home, she can't run from her past any longer. Together with her sister Evie, Lex intends to turn the House of Horrors into a force for good. But first she must come to terms with her 6 siblings and with the childhood they shared. So apparently there's some House of Horrors. I don't know if that's like literal or if it's like just what like she's calling it, but it seems like it could be creepy, a little dark. Seems like my type of book.
My next pick is nonfiction. It's called White Feminism. Do we need to say more? But it's written by a Black woman, Koa Beck. And if you guys have read So You Want to Talk About Race, that book touches on white feminism a little bit. And if you guys have read Hood Feminism, we actually didn't get our hands on that book yet. We're like
still on the wait list.
Yeah, this is another one. Like, I just want to hear more about this topic. And the synopsis just sounded really great. So the subtitle is From Suffragettes to Influencers and Who They Leave Behind. A timely and impassioned exploration of how our society has commodified feminism and continues to systemically shut out women of color. And I'm just like, I need more about that.
My next book is another literary fiction book, and it's called Other People's Children by R.J. Hoffman. This synopsis was really simple, but I was just like, it's literary. It seems like it's gonna be intense. The first sentence just says, a riveting debut novel about a couple whose dream of adopting a baby is shattered when the teenage mother reclaims her child. Then it says what makes a family. So I'm like,
that's like Little Fires Everywhere vibe. So if you like that book, this will be a good one for you guys too. My next pick is a memoir, and this is the only memoir on my list. And I usually don't really read memoirs, but something about this one just gripped me. And so it's called Aftershocks by Nadia, I hope I'm saying this right, Owusu. This poetic, genre-bending work from WHTE Award winner Nadia Owusu grapples with the fault lines of identity, the meaning of home, Black womanhood, and the ripple effects. And this is another one that's going to be about the Black experience and from a Black woman's perspective. It's a memoir, it's different for me, but I'm just really looking forward to it.
The next book that I want to read is called The Divines by Ellie Eaton. Now this book was actually compared to Normal People, and you like that book. I like the writing of that book, so I'm like, well, if this is kind of compared and they're both literary fiction, I could like it. And then, so the synopsis basically just says, it's a compulsively readable literary debut set in a secluded boarding school exploring the intoxicating and destructive relationships between teenage girls. This is on top of my list. I think it comes out in January.
I got this book sent to my Goodreads inbox and I was like, I'm putting that on my list. It's called Black Book by Matteo Ascaripour. Hope I'm saying that one right too. And this one they're comping to Sorry to Bother You meets Wolf of Wall Street. And I heard that and I was just like, I'm into that. I really like Wolf of Wall Street. So it's basically following, it says it's a crackling satirical debut novel about a young man given a shot at stardom as the lone black salesman at a mysterious cult-like and wildly successful startup.
That seems fun.
And it says where nothing is as it seems. So I feel like there's going to be some weird stuff going on. I think this is literary, but it might have a mysterious element to it, and I love that. And this one comes out in January.
The next book is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but that was one of my goals, to just read more books that I'm not used to reading. And this one is called Lore, and it's by Alexandra Branken. So from what I know, it's about mythical gods in New York City. As punishment for a past rebellion, 9 Greek gods are forced to walk the earth as mortals, hunted by the descendants of ancient bloodlines, all eager to kill a god and seize their divine power and immortality. This one is coming out in January, and I just like anything with Greek gods. I'm actually reading Circe right now, and I'm really liking it, so I'm hoping that this is like the same vibe.
Yeah, and I love Circe, and I also loved Lovely War that featured Athena and Hades, and it was mixing in with the real world, so I feel like, yeah, this is actually, I should have put this on my list because I really want to read that one too. Going along with reading books out of our comfort zone or books that we just don't really gravitate toward is YA for me. And YA contemporary is one that I usually stay away from. But this one, Carefree Day by WHTE Amazine, seems really intriguing. And it's basically following a girl who has OCD and deals with anxiety. And yeah, I've never read a book featuring a young black woman who's dealing with anxiety, dealing with something that a lot of us deal with. And so if you have OCD, you'll probably want to read this one too. Or if you have like a kid who has OCD, I think it'll be a good gift to give to them so they can kind of relate to another character going through it. And this one comes out in February, so I'm probably going to get to it really soon. Our last pick is Detransition Baby by Torrey Peters. And I love the synopsis of the one, and this has a really cute cover. A whip-smart debut about 3 women, transgender and cis, whose lives collide after an unexpected pregnancy forces them to confront their deepest desires around gender, motherhood, and sex. Feels like it's going to be hard-hitting. It feels like it's going to deal with a lot of contemporary issues, and that's just something I'm really looking forward to reading this year.
Yeah, and I haven't read a book about a transgender main character yet, so that'll be good for me.
Oh, and you know another one that we could read is Felix Ever After, that came out this year, and it deals with the same thing, and there's a trans lead.
Oh yeah.
And this one comes out in January.
So yeah, those are all of our picks. Those are all the ones that we picked so far. If you guys have any recommendations based off of things that we said we've liked, leave it in the comments. And also tell us what you're looking forward to reading, because we love getting inspired by other people's picks. So yeah, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. We do post videos twice a week.
Bye guys.
Bye.